your upbringing?
I always loved sales growing up, but actually, one of the first things I wanted to do was become a pharmacist.
Okay.
So when I was 14 years old, I think I went and shadowed a pharmacist, and for like I don't know 2 or 3 weeks, I was at the Target pharmacy over in Reynoldsburg, and I was over there, and I hated it. It was like, oh, this is not the life for me. It's something I wanted to do for like 4 years, but I never like other than just looking at it online or like talking to some family friends that I knew. That was the only experience I had. And then I did that, and I was like, I can't do this. It was standing behind a counter for 13 hours, 12 hours, and just sliding pills across this thing and putting them into a bottle. Like I was like, this is not the life for me. I mean, I love that you're able to talk to people. Talking to people has always been a passion of mine. But that was actually my first dream. And then I then tried shadowing a dentist. So I tried that for a little bit, decided that wasn't for me either. I grew up in the real estate world, so it was definitely something that wasn't unfamiliar to me, but I always said like, oh, I'm never going to do that. Like, that's not for me. Like, I don't want to do that. I want like, consistent income. I want something that makes a lot of money. I want, which, real estate does, but I wanted something that was consistent and like it was tried and true and proven that
Right.
that's the money I would get. And as we know, our commissions are never guaranteed in this business. We're 1099, we're not W-2. So when I finally got to the real estate dream, I tried a few others at first, but yeah, I grew up in the business. So what were you gonna say? Go ahead.
What I guess at 14, what made you want to be a pharmacist? Like, what was it? Just like the medicine side? Was it like, I don't know. I don't think most 14-year-olds are like pharmacy. That's what I want to do. I don't know. At least
I
I don't know.
I'm definitely an odd one out, for sure. So I always loved science. Science was one of my, favorite subjects in school. And then when I got to an older age, in your high school, it's not just called science anymore. You're in biology or you're in chemistry. And I loved chemistry. So that was honestly the year that I decided, I was like, well, like maybe I want to go into this. I had spoke with my chemistry professor. She's, I think you'd be great at it. She's like, you're awesome at like everything we do in here. I was like, well, let's check it out. So I checked it out and I was like, this is not for me. And then I was like, science is not for me. I can't do science anymore after I tried the dentist thing. And so when I had graduated high school, I was like, okay, business. I know I want to do business. So I went for my marketing degree. And I always loved marketing. I loved social media. I love talking to people. But I mean, so many people my age love social media. And once I started to explore that world a little bit more, I decided it wasn't for me. But marketing is where I knew I wanted to be. So when I got to college, which maybe I'm jumping the gun here in the podcast, but when I got to college, marketing is where I landed.
So, did you kind of push the other way because you saw? I know you said you kind of wanted consistency and some pay and things. Growing up in the business, I don't. I mean, obviously, I didn't grow up in the business, but I can't imagine what that would be like. Seeing your parents in it, and obviously, I'm sure there was maybe some like, did they kind of push you to become a real estate agent, or they let you kind of self discover and do your own thing?
My mom actually pushed me the opposite direction. I mean, I growing up, in a house where my mom was a real estate agent, she was a top agent, has been for years. Um, I get to see the non-glamorous side of real estate. Like I got to see the non-HGTV, which I know. I mean, I think a reason a lot of people get in this industry is they think it's glamorous. They think it's just showing houses. They think it's easy. I saw the hard side, and I saw it early, and I saw it growing up, and you know, it was never something. It was never something my mom necessarily wanted me to be a part of. She wanted me to, and if I wanted to, eventually, she wanted me there, but she wanted me to explore other options at first. So she definitely, pushed me to go to college and, pushed me to explore other things. And I did, and I was happy to. But when I had gone to college in marketing, I wanted to go into the corporate world. And my advisor at the time, my mentor said, well, you need a background in sales if you want to like, just go straight into the corporate world. I was like, well, I can get a sales job. I know where to do that. So I had finished my first year of college and I got my real estate license. And so honestly, I was the student realtor at Capital University for years. That was my thing. Like there was no realtor that was a college student. Like that it was my thing for so many years. I was the young agent. I was 19 years old. And now, I'm 24 now and I see other agents who are young has always been my thing. And I'm not young as I used to be anymore. I'm 24. And there's people who are 18, 19 who are getting into it now. And
Yeah,
honestly, I'm proud of them. I think it's just absolutely amazing. Starting young in this industry is definitely not normal. I know that for sure.
it's not
And
normal, and it's hard. I mean, it's a little harder. Like we have an agent who just joined us right out of high school. Got licensed at 18, and I was 22 when I got started. I had just graduated and then got into the business, and I was one of those of the HGTV was just becoming popular, and in 2011, and all of the flipping shows. I'm like, man, if they're making $80,000 a flip. Like, oh, I got in because I wanted to learn the flip in the investment side, but I figured I should know some sales and real estate. Now I've done some flips, and that hasn't been my main focus. The main focus has been the sales and the real estate side. But yeah, I mean, at such a young age, it's even harder because, and I'm sure you got this, and I got it. Are you even old enough to
oh
sell
yeah.
real estate and to get someone that's in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s to trust,
Mhm.
an 18 to 22-year-old or 24-year-old or whatever the case may be? Like, now you have the experience of 5 years. But I know when I got started, I didn't know anything about real estate, and I didn't know anything about houses. Like, I didn't know stuff about furnaces or roofs or,
Mhm.
any of that stuff.
Oh no.
So I'm sure it was definitely more of a challenge, at 18, 19 years old.
Oh, no, I completely agree. It was my biggest obstacle, like 100%. Like I knew growing up, I knew a lot of things that younger agents didn't know, like how to write a contract, like all that, the stuff that you learn. And
Yeah.
the classes were easy for me because I knew all of that. And, if I ever did have a question, my mom was right there. Like I could go to her, 18, 19 years old, be like, hey, like I remember my first listing, like I wouldn't answer a phone call. I was afraid. I'd let everything go to voicemail. I hoped they would, leave a voicemail and like hint at what their questions were. And then I would go to my mom and be like, what does this mean? Like, I don't know what they're talking about. And so like for probably my first two listings, like I didn't answer the phone. I called them back immediately, but I let them leave a voicemail first and
Yeah.
then figure out because I didn't know anything. And so much of this job is on the job learning. It's training once you have your license. Because there is you can always be learning in this business. There's so many things to learn. The learning never stops, and I think that's a super important characteristic to have as a successful agent is to always have that mindset to learn, and that's so important. But being young, that was my hardest obstacle. I mean, for sure. I would get all the time like, "Why should I trust you
Yeah.
to help me buy a house?" And for the first year, I was like, "I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know why you should." So it was definitely hard to overcome. I mean, once you get that first person to trust you, that's a great feeling. Then you get one under your belt, and then you can use that to then get the next one, and then you have two under your belt, and then after you get more and more, it gets easier. It gets easier. You know how to overcome those common questions, those obstacles. Well, you're so young, like how can I trust you? I'm like, well, here's why you can trust me because my last three sales I've gotten, my seller $50,000 over list price. We've broken records in the neighborhood. Here's my marketing strategy. Here's everything I can do for you. All of that. And yeah, no, it was definitely a very hard obstacle to overcome for sure.
So, with that, I mean, what I did was and you were in the same situation because you had obviously your mom, and did she have a team at the time, or was it just her?
It was just her.
Yeah.
It was created when I came. It was the two of us. So
Yeah. So like one thing that you had in your back pocket that some people don't is, and I had it in my back pocket was, hey, I, I don't know that answer, but I have an experienced agent, with me. Let me go and ask them. And I was never good at the BSing, like trying to figure my way out, like talk my way through stuff. And I
mhm,
found that out pretty quickly too, right? When you have to make that call and say, hey, by the way, like I told you the wrong information and here's what it really is. That's when
mhm,
I kind of made that pivot, especially when I was early in my career and younger, was just being truthful and just saying, hey, like I don't know that answer to your question. Let me call my mentor, and I'll get back in touch with you. And I think that's really what helped me, was because people respected that. Whereas before, I thought it would be, oh, well, this guy doesn't know anything about real estate, and go the opposite direction of losing their trust.
Yeah. No, I don't
So,
I don't think anyone should ever be afraid to say I don't know. I think I don't know is honestly one a powerful thing to say. Like it proves that no one likes to know it all, and and nobody knows it all. So I
right,
mean, it's okay to not know, um, as long as you work to find the answer. Don't just be like I don't know and throw your hands up in the air. I
right.
mean, work to find that answer. Go to the more experienced agent. Go to somebody that you can ask, your manager, your broker, your team lead. Definitely, I mean, you never want to BS your way through this industry, because when you start doing that, that's when you start getting in trouble.
Yeah, for sure.